So hello everybody, this is American Seagull Predictions, and I'm back with a new video. Today I'm doing my thoughts on the Virginia's gubernatorial election. Now Michigan, out of all the states Biden flipped, this one was the closest. His best one. I think even Nevada, Trump did better in Nevada than he did in Michigan, even as Nevada voted for Hillary. Michigan, it might have been a fluke in 2020 that Biden, it might just be Trump wasn't able to max out these rurals. It was the weakest state Trump won in 2016 against Hillary. And I think it was just if Biden just did a little bit better, he would probably win. Trump basically would have to kept the same voters at bay. And it's not really working. So, honestly, James Craig, I think, would narrowly win Kent County in a red wave year. I think he'd win it by in a red wave year. I think he'd win it by something like that. In a red wave year, probably a point or so. Muskegon County would also narrowly go. I think that'd be a little more in Kent County. He's Byrne gonna swing right. McComb probably will go by 10-ish. Now I think Wayne County, I think, will probably shift a little bit to the right. Same with Oakland, probably. Saginaw, I think, will narrowly flip in a red wave year. I think a lot of these upstate counties will probably continue. And I think a lot of these, maybe a few of these upstate counties will go red. I think areas like Muskegon might. I think a lot of these upstate counties will probably trend red. I don't think all of them would, but So I guess this would be probably the good scenario for Republicans. I think they would have to get something like this. They don't have to get 2/3 of the vote. They have to get close, at least 32. That would be pretty good in Wayne County. For someone like James Craig to beat Whitmer, he actually doesn't have. He won't actually have to get. He wouldn't have to get down to single digits in Oakland, but he'd have to get pretty close. Genesee County is going to have to do better than Trump did in order to win there. Saginaw, he's basically going to have to win it by 3, almost 4, which is probably doable. Kent County, I think that might be a little close. Maybe something like that. And I think James Craig might do a little bit better in areas like here and there. I didn't shift all these counties to the right. Actually, a few of them. I think maybe the shifts will be a little more than just 2 points, especially in the red wave year where Gretchen Whitmer is basically simping to Joe Biden. But is Whitmer really making a comeback? I'm not completely sure, but to be honest, it kind of depends on how the voters depend on. I think November 8th is election day. So in a red wave year, I think Republicans could win. I do think something like some of these I think some of these candidates will probably win by this margin. I think Clinton will probably be like a little bit more than that. So, I mean, Republicans kind of have to, are going to make together a coalition to do better up in the northern country in order to pull off a win and limit Wayne County, Winston, Oakland, and Macomb. I think it's going to come down to these three counties, as I think Craig has a lot of appeal here. I think he's pretty good in the Detroit area. He might be able to get some blacks over to him. Probably not a ton, but he might be able to get some over. Probably, he might get I think he'll do better in areas like Wayne County. I think he does have some white working class appeal. And yeah, and I think he'll probably flip back Kent County narrowly. I mean, John James won it narrowly. It's just kind of an anti-Trump county. I mean, based off the other elections, there's other elections in 2020. All the county-wide officials won their races, and they all got more votes than Trump did. So I think it's just more of a Trump issue in Kent County. They still elect down-ballot Republicans like all the time. So I don't know. But if you look at the polls here, this poll, they have Gretchen Whitmer up by 5. There's 13 undecided. Now, they have an earlier poll that only had Gretchen Whitmer up by 1. But, to be honest, can you trust it? No, probably not. As I think the main reason why James Craig isn't really doing so well is because he doesn't really have a ton of negative representation. I mean, yeah, he's favorable, but look at barely anyone's polling here. I mean, they don't really know him that well. Well, maybe once things get close to the election day, hopefully people will know more, and maybe James Craig could win. So as of right now, I think either one could win. I think it's toss-up. I can literally see any of the candidates winning. This might be the closest of the 2022 midterm in the governor's race. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. American Eagle Predictions out.